Having already made a name for herself in mid-1993 with the release of her critically acclaimed debut album Exile in Guyville, Liz Phair had been thrust into the critics' spotlight by the end of the year, receiving numerous accolades from several different publications, including Album of the Year by quite a few of them. By the time 1994 had rolled around, she'd gotten back on her feet and into the studio to record her highly anticipated sophomore album, Whip Smart. Today, we're going to take a look at it. Alright, I know what you're gonna say to me. I said I was gonna move away from the unknown albums. I'm sorry, okay? Look, this whole channel to me is more or less gonna be my own little place to review what I want to review when I want to review it. I'm not gonna be following any real public or general opinion on things. I'm not going to be a contemporary critic. I'm not going to be a critic who reviews specific things. I'm going to be a guy who tackles what he likes, what he listens to. Doesn't have to be anything I like. It could just be things I listen to, okay? Because I got some albums on the plate that I don't really like that much. Trust me, okay? So, I am sorry that I am not tackling some things people actually know now. I just want to tackle what I like and move from there. So, without any further ado, let's begin. Now, to start off this review, I'm pretty sure none of you, maybe a few of you if you talk to me in real life, have ever heard of the name Liz Phair. It's not a very well-known name in music anymore. However, if you lived in the 1990s and kept up to date on modern music, you would probably heard that name once or twice, maybe a few times more, because of her debut album Exile in Guyville, which I mentioned previously and has probably popped up in several of my other reviews visually. Now, I gotta get this out of the way right now. Exile in Guyville showed up in all of those reviews as little visuals because it is my favorite album of all time. Yes, whenever I think of an opportunity to mention it, I will mention it because it is my favorite album ever made. For good reason, too. I have a soft spot for concept albums, man. I really do. And that is one of the best concept albums I've ever heard in my entire life. As good as The Downward Spiral by Nine Inch Nails, The Wall by Pink Floyd, 13th Step by A Perfect Circle, you name it. That is up there with those amazing albums. It's incredible. Now, several other albums have tried to dethrone it before, but 5 months on, it's still ranking as my number one, and I am proud of it. Now, I'm also a really huge super fan of Liz Phair, to the point of where it kind of comes off a little creepy. I mean, not creepy as in, like, you know, I want to, like, stalk her or anything, but, like, I'm a big fan, alright? That's all I gotta say. I'm a big fan. Mostly of her earlier music, because after the 2000s, she started making pop albums, and I'm like, no thanks. So, we're going to start off today with her introduction to my channel, a formal introduction that is, with her sophomore album, Whip Smart. Probably my second favorite of hers, actually, because I really can't think of any other album of hers that can compare to Exile in Guyville besides this one. And here's why. Because Whip Smart is like a part 2 to Exile in Guyville's concept, which is really, really awesome because Liz Phair has always done a great job in her music, even on her lesser albums, of connecting her other albums together. It's really, really nice to think that an album like this can be so vastly different from Exile in Guyville, yet still be a spiritual successor as well as an actual successor as well. The style of the album isn't very changed from Exile in Guyville's standard lo-fi indie sound, although it definitely follows a very different pacing and structure. Unlike Exile in Guyville, which I see as more of an album-oriented album, which, in case you're wondering what I mean by that, it means that it's an album that can only really be listened to as an album for you to understand what's really going on. Whip Smart is more of a song-oriented album, meaning you can take bits and pieces out of the album and still enjoy it for what it's worth. Now, this is coming from somebody who listens to both albums out of order, so I don't really know what I'm saying here, but Exile in Guyville makes a lot more sense and is more enjoyable in the album sense, not as a song sense. Some of the songs on Whip Smart that I think are the best on here anyway are tracks 5, 6, and 7, little sandwich trifecta there in the middle of the album. Track 5, Shane, which is another track culled from her 1991 demo tapes titled Girly Sound, which I have not talked about before, so I don't know why I'm saying another track, but This is a song that was reworked from her original demo tapes into an actual song for this album. Now, the one on these demo tapes are not bad. The songs on the demo tapes are not bad, but we're going to review those on a different date. We're not going to talk about those today. This song is probably one of the most, I guess, least accessible songs on the album because it's kind of repetitive, extremely repetitive, and it's kind of short compared to most of the songs on here. It's got like 2 verses on here, and that's about it. And then it's got a repeating chorus of "You've got to have fear in your heart."
You gotta have fear in your heart. You gotta have fear in your heart. You gotta have fear in your heart. You gotta have fear in your heart.
Like 25 times. It's crazy. On the Girly Sound version, she only says "you gotta have fear in your heart" like 10 times. Like, it's not even that many.
You gotta have fear in your heart. You gotta have fear in your heart. You gotta have fear in your heart.
Maybe not even 10 times. All I'm saying is the one on the Girly Sound is way better, but that's not the point here. Track 6, my favorite Liz Phair song ever and my favorite song on the album, "Nashville," is probably Phair's best example of her vocal range, because although she typically likes to sing with a very monotone and deadpan robotic voice, this song allows her to push her vocals towards something a lot more powerful and captivating. That's all I can really say here. Captivating is the word I can use. It's interesting, it's wonderful, and it's one of her best songs she's ever done. And it's underrated as frick, too. I don't see any fan ever talk about this song. It's sad. She's performed this song like 5 times live. It's really sad.
I don't crack the door too far for anyone who's pushing too hard on me.
Track 7 is another song from Girly Sound, "Go West," which was later which was reworked for this album, albeit very, very. It was very minuscule. The differences are not extremely noticeable. It's a little bit cleaner. It's a little bit more mastered, obviously, than these demo tapes, as the demo tapes were recorded at home, and they weren't really given much prior post-production work. So that was a little disappointing, but that's besides the point. Those are my 3 favorite songs on the album, and for good reason, and they definitely exemplify Phair's talent as not only a songwriter, but also as a guitarist and as a musician in general, along with the work from her pretty much studio band as well as live band, which doesn't really have a name, so, you know, there's no real referring to them. They're just her band, okay? Overall, I think, compared to Exile in Guyville, Whipsmart is definitely the more accessible work in her discography, and it's not as sexualized as Exile in Guyville is. Exile in Guyville was able to rebrand women in music for showcasing a more blunt and honest and sexual side of people, or more specifically women, similar to how men could get away with writing all this crap for years. It was meant as a song-by-song response to the Rolling Stones' Exile on Main Street, hence the title similarities. And that makes a lot of sense, because Exile on Main Street is probably one of the most masculine records I think I've ever heard in my life, even from someone who doesn't understand that record as much as other people do. I think it's good, but I don't think it's as good as people say it is. I'm just saying. That's just me, though. I was never a Rolling Stones fan, so that could just be my personal bias kicking in. Whipsmart is definitely the more radio-friendly album, and that's saying a lot, considering Liz Phair definitely has a mouth on her, and she does not really care about what people think about what she says. And she definitely likes to push a lot of adult themes and adult lyrics into her music, not to the point of where it's overt or it's there for shock value, but to the point of where it can be a little bit more relatable for people in their real lives. Overall, I think Whipsmart is probably her second best album, for good reason as well, and it is definitely a fitting sequel and successor to Exile in Guyville. With that, I give Liz Phair's Whipsmart a 9 out of 10. Thank you guys so much for listening to this review. It's really appreciated. If you guys enjoyed, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe if you have not already, turn the notification bell on. I will have some other reviews here for you to watch here at the end of the video. I'm going to start doing this now. And additionally, if you have heard this album, miraculously, what did you think of it? If you haven't heard this album, I highly suggest you give it a listen. Keep your eyes out for the next review. Keep being awesome. And I'll see y'all later. Take care.